Hey friends, Shay here. So we are here to finally sit down and wrap up my reading in the month of August. I read quite a bit. I'm really proud of myself. I don't have specific stats in front of me, but we are going to dive into the things that I read. So I've got some physical reads as well as a lot of digital reads. Manga was a pretty big stack as well. So reading in August happened and it was good. So let's start with the digital books, and then we'll go to physical books, and then we'll do all the manga at the end. So I will have timestamps down below. If you're only interested in the manga or you're only interested in the book, you know where to skip to the end, that kind of stuff. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So as some of you probably noticed from my Instagram, I had a big author binge in the month of August. The author was Liz Isaacson. She writes clean, closed door, not really smutty at all romances where there is a Christian religion element to them. It's not too domineering or too preachy in your face, but it's there. So I like to let people know in case they just don't want to deal with any of it. So I read an entire series and read some books in another. So the one that I read the entire series of was the Last Chance Ranch series. So let's briefly talk about each of these books. I do have some notes just to make sure that I keep track which couple is tied to which book, because it was a lot and I did it all back to back, so they all started to blur together in my head. So I had to type down some notes for this. So I hope you'll forgive me for reading some things. So the first one is Last Chance Ranch. We have Scarlett and Hudson. Scarlett inherits her grandfather's ranch. He's not doing well. He's not all there. Her grandmother has passed away. And so she comes on to help and own the ranch. It's not doing well. So she wants to turn it around. She ends up hiring a helper named Hudson, and Hudson is kind of like down on his luck, bottom of the barrel, not doing the best in life. And this is kind of his last chance to kind of turn his life around. And they end up in a relationship. It's really sweet. It's really cute. I really, really liked it. Had a good time with them. The next one is Last Chance Cowboy, and that is Adele and Carson. Adele is Scarlett's best friend, and she's a chef. She had a cooking TikTok. She has a renowned restaurant owner want her to come and open a restaurant in New York with all of her down-home Southern style country cooking. And Carson is a guy whose family had to sell their ranch, so he's well off, but he loves ranching work, and so he still is wanting to work as a ranch hand, gets a job at Last Chance, and doesn't make the best first impression on Adele, and Adele has an ex that had a lot of money and treated her bad, and so their dynamic is very interesting. I really enjoyed this one as well. Next we have Last Chance Wedding, which is Jerry and Sawyer. Jerry is a female contractor, builder, and I love her. She has a bad past. She has an ex-husband and a child that she's estranged from. Basically, her ex is like, I don't want you to have any contact with our kid. And so she was kind of forced to step away. But Sawyer has a big family and is getting a lot of pressure to date and all that kind of stuff. So he and Jerry kind of fake date. He brings her to a family event, but then of course they both had feelings for each other prior to this. And so things go from there, and it was really well done. If you like the fake dating trope, this one's a great one for that. But I do like the journey that Jerry specifically went on in this one. It was really well done. Next we have Last Chance Reunion. This is Sissy and Dave. Sissy and Dave were engaged many, many years ago. Sissy broke it off. She had wanderlust, wanted to go and explore the world. She wasn't ready to settle down because of her family dynamics and whatnot. And Dave wanted nothing more than a family and kids. And he goes off, does military stuff. And they both get reacquainted at Last Chance Ranch, where she is basically in charge of the pet adoptions that they do there. Dave is just one of the ranch hands, and their dynamic was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It was a second chance done in a way where I feel like it all made sense. So I really enjoyed that. Cash and Carla. Carla's the cook on the ranch. She is, just very motherly, very sweet. And then we have Cash, one of the young ranch hands that wants to bring in some extra money because he has old gambling debts. He's gotten over his gambling addiction, but he wants to get that all cleared up so he feels like he is the right kind of man for Carla, because he's had a thing for Carla for a long time. You kind of get this in the other books. And he found out there are people who want to, cuddle cows. And anyways, one day he catches Carla out there doing it. And so he recruits Carla to help him, and they have their romance along the way. It's really kind of fun and campy and cute. And I really enjoyed their story. And then we have Last Chance Christmas, which is the last one for the Last Chance Ranch series, at least that I could find. And that's Amber and Lance. And Amber kind of dated everybody on the ranch, at least went on a date with everybody on the ranch, except Lance, because she thought with Lance it could be more, and so she kept being afraid of it. But Lance finally, when she is without a boyfriend, takes a chance, asks her out, and things start to go from there. She's the one in charge of adoptions. I forget what Sissy did on the ranch. Or did Amber replace Sissy? I don't remember that part, but Amber was in charge of adoptions on the ranch. And she gets a job opportunity to leave the ranch and do adoptions for the facility that is partnered with them and stuff with the Last Chance Ranch. But that would mean no Lance, because Lance is very settled, doesn't want to leave, kind of stuff. His family's there, all sorts of things. But anyways, I really liked how this one came around, and it was very well done. So the other series that I read some books in, I know this is a lot from one author all at once, I'm sorry, is the Three Rivers Ranch series. So the first one is Second Chance Ranch that I read. It's technically book 2, which I didn't know when I picked it up, but that's fine. So this is a second chance romance between Squire and Kelly. Squire is the sister of the woman who's the love interest in book 1, I found out later. And Kelly is her best friend. But Kelly is back in town. She's divorced and has a kid. Squire had asked Kelly out to prom, but Kelly never found out who asked her to prom. So she went stag with her friends to the dance. And so he was butthurt all this time about it, but she had no idea. And Squire's sister didn't know that that's what had happened either. Otherwise, she would have said, oh, it's Squire. And things would have gone from there. But I really liked how that one played out. It worked really well for me. I like single parent romances most of the time. And this one worked out well. Next one is Third Time's the Charmed. This is Chelsea and Pete. I love Pete. Pete's former military, and he uses horses for therapy. And he's starting a therapeutic horse training facility at Three Rivers Ranch. And Chelsea is Squire's sister. She comes home a bit broken. Her fiance unalived himself, so that is a trigger. I'm going to warn you now. She comes home very broken, and the horses start to heal her, and Pete's attracted to her but wants her to heal. And he's like, oh, my program can help her, and so he starts off wanting to help her for the horses, but, falls in love along the way, and so that complicates things. But I do like how this one ended up playing out. Next is Fourth and Long with Kate and Brett. So Kate is Brett's estranged wife. She asked for a divorce after he had been deployed not very long, and they hadn't been married long either. But the divorce was never finalized, so technically they're still married. And they also have a child together that he had no idea about until this book. And so his kid is 8. And so they're trying to see because he never stopped loving her. She never stopped loving him. So they want to see if their relationship can work. But he's also going to be a big part of their son's life from here on out. And so it's very, very interesting. Again, a lot of the drama with that is a little blown out, but not in a bad way. It all worked together. And then the last one that I read of my cowboy binge of Liz Isaacson for the month of August was Fifth Generation Cowboy, which is Rose and Tom. So Rose does the loans at the bank. And so we meet her in book 2, or in Chelsea and Pete's book, when Pete's going to get the loan for everything for the horse therapy stuff. And she has an autistic child. And so he's like, bring your child out to the ranch. I'd love to see how they do with the horses. And so Rose starts to come out to the ranch a lot. And Tom, one of the ranch hands, I think he's like the foreman, if I remember right, gets to know Rose this way. And so they talk outside of their time at the ranch, but he goes out of his way to make sure he sees her when she's on the property and things like that. And they start to develop a relationship, but it's one of those things where their conflicts are all external rather than internal, which I really appreciated for the most part, and that worked really well for me. Okay, that's it for the cowboy romances over here. The other digital things that I did were my audiobooks, and that's He Who Fights with Monsters books 3 through 5. I am almost all the way through 6 now as well. Filming this a little into September, but this is a really fun lit RPG series. If you're a fan of something like Dungeon Crawler Carl, this is going to kind of scratch a similar itch in a lot of ways. Essentially, this man named Jason Asano, he's an Australian man with Japanese heritage as well, is basically isekai'd or transported into another universe and wakes up in the middle of this ritual where someone's trying to use his power for evil, but he fights his way out. And it ends up being this like survival video game style book. It works really, really well. I'm really appreciative of the direction of the story. Jason is a lot in the beginning, but I feel like with time he grows on you and it gets better. So with that said, that is it for the digital book reads. Let's talk about the few physical ones that I've got here. So I have started Gravity by Tal Bauer. I'm still working on it. I tend to read... I don't want to blow through Tal Bauer too fast. Granted, that's what I did with the rest of the story, but I just want to cherish this, so I'm going slowly, but I'm enjoying it. A book I DNF'd was When a Cowboy Loves a Woman by Jenny Martz. This one mentioned she who shall not be named in a way that you can tell it was going to come up multiple times within the story. And so in the year of our Lord 2025, I just decided this wasn't a thing I wanted to read. This came out after the pandemic, so when we knew their behavior, so it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm not going to do this. So that's that. Next, I do have I Think I'm in Love with an Alien by Anne Aguirre. This is just a really fun, kind of campy look at an alien and a human woman having a relationship on Earth. It's a lot of fun. I don't really want to say more than that. I think this is more fun to just go in and explore. So if you like alien romances at all, I highly recommend checking this one out. It was a lot of fun, and I have zero regrets in reading it. I had a great time. Next, I did finally get around to reading A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. I didn't love this one quite as much as the first one, which is A Psalm for the Wild Built, but I still think the messages are really nice, and it's all about living your life for yourself more than for other people, but caring about other people is still important, and it has a lot of really great messages, and I really, really enjoyed it. So, and it's about, you know, living your life to the fullest as you can. So I really appreciated and enjoyed the messages within this one. And then the last one, the last book we're going to talk about is The Curious Kitten at Chibineko Kitchen. So I ended up annotating this. I really love cozy Japanese fiction. I really enjoyed this particular one. This is basically having what they call a remembrance meal. So this is a meal that you have after someone has died, and it's a way to kind of reconnect with them. If you like things like the Kamigawa Food Detectives or Before the Coffee Gets Cold, it's very much in that same line, that same vibe of Japanese fiction. I really appreciated this. I thought it was really sweet and did a lot of really poignant and lovely things. But again, this isn't necessarily going to blow your mind if you've read those other books. But I had a lovely time, and I just really enjoyed my entire reading experience of this one. The second book in this series comes out early next year, early 2026. So I'm very excited to continue on once that's out. Alrighty, friends. So that is everything for the books. Let's go ahead and talk about the manga that I got read. I have a bunch that I read but did not decide to purchase when I was out and about doing a reading. Maeve over at Maeve Ever Reading and we tend to do reading dates where we'll like go out and read books, decide what we're purchasing, and what we're passing on, all that kind of stuff. So that's what these are going to be. So one that I passed on is I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons, because I felt this one was just doing the same things that a lot of these other series in this vein do. It wasn't bringing anything new to the table, so I didn't have any desire to add it to my collection. The next one was Cute But Not Cute. The not cute part is the part that stood out for me. I ended up not enjoying this BL. I felt like it was a little too forced, felt a little rapey, wasn't really my thing. Other people out there have loved it, and it's just a me thing, but that one didn't work for me. Same thing with Imitation Play. I couldn't. It was just meh. I have to be so selective these days. It didn't do anything to stand out or make me enjoy it. The next one was Merry Witch's Life. I think this is one that I'm just going to collect digitally. I don't think it did anything wrong or bad, and I was enjoying the story that it was. So I think this is just going to be a digital collect for me rather than a physical collect. Essentially, it's about these 3 women who have lost their partners and about them figuring out how to move on and live their life. And it was well done for that. Tokyo Fears Rhapsody. I did try out. I think this is one I'm going to read digitally as well. It was really fun and campy, but I fear that I will tire of the methodology in it too quickly. So I'm opting to go digital for this one because I'm afraid I won't love it long term. Neighborhood Craftsman, I really enjoyed. It's a little disjointed because it's short story collection again. But this is one that I think I'll get in time. I just didn't feel that urgent need to buy it. And I was already buying so much that day that I passed on that one. Next, I have Roar, A Star in the Abyss, Volume 1. This one just feels very skip beat to me. And so I didn't need this one. I feel like skip beat scratches that itch for me. And I think skip beat was better done for me. As much as I loved the art, story-wise, it wasn't giving me anything different. And then I'll Forget You Starting Today, Senpai. This was just toxic, bad, messy. I could not with this one. It just did not work for me at all. And then I have Trapped by His Love, The Duke's Unexpected Bride. Again, this is one that I feel like all of the tropes have been so overdone and oversaturated that it didn't necessarily do anything wrong or bad. This is one I would probably collect digitally if I was going to collect it at all, but like I have no desire to own it physically. The next one is To Sir Without Love, I'm Divorcing You. And this is one of those, like, you've been gone, so I want to divorce you. And now he's like, oh, so now that you don't want me, I want you, kind of things. And again, I think there are better series out there doing the same thing. So I am passing on this one. And then I have This Is But a Hell of a Dream. And this was just no consent. It was not okay. And it's one of those where, like, they are not in charge of their body when sexual things were happening. So, like, consent was not allowed at all because of that. And so it just didn't work for me. So I said no to that one. Next, I have Reincarnated in a Mafia Dating Sim. Now, this is campy and really fun, but I don't think it's one I want to collect physically. This would be a digital collect for me. I do think Boss Bride Days did this same kind of thing better, personally, but I know that not everybody reads digitally, so Boss Bride Days isn't easily available physically. Hey, Kodansha, please fix that for us, along with Matcha Maiden Heaven while you're at it. But anyways, but I understand the appeal of Reincarnated in a Mafia Dating Sim because of that. The next one's going to be My Contract with the Apothecary Monster. I didn't enjoy this as much as some people have. I feel like this one is wanting to be something that it's not really gonna be. And again, if I'm gonna go for an apothecary stories, I have several. Magica Artisan Dahlia Wilts No More, Apothecary Diaries, and Snow White with the Red Hair all kind of scratch the same itch for me. And so this one doesn't really have a place in my collection. I already have 3 series kind of filling that. So again, this one isn't necessarily bad. I would probably collect it digitally if I'm going to collect it. But it's one of those things where physically I have no desire. I already have things on my shelf that scratch that itch. The last one I have to talk to you about is My Adorable Betrothed. This one icked me out so hard because technically one of the partners got adopted into the family later as a protection thing. But when they're intimate, they're calling each other brother, and it icked me out so hard. I just could not. I had to pass. I couldn't. Just no. You can't say brother in an intimate situation like that. It doesn't work for me. No. Like, ew. That just icks me out so hard. Not okay. Okay, another one that I read, but I wasn't able to pick up physically just because there was only one copy, and Maeve ended up getting it, was Do You Really Want Only a Meal? This is a really cute BL where this guy who's a corporate worker ends up hiring someone to like make bentos for work for him and to make some meals for him. And the guy that comes over to cook for him, they end up having a thing, but he finds out that the guy who's cooking for him is also his boss's son. So it's kind of got a weird dynamic to it, but it works so well. I cannot wait until I can get a physical copy of this one because I am obsessed with it. I will be owning it physically. It's only 2 volumes in Japan. It's complete. So it's going to be a nice, short, concise one, but it's so good. If you're a foodie person at all, and you like foodie stories, definitely pick up Do You Really Want Only a Meal because it's so good. And then another one that I started reading but didn't get a chance to finish, just again because there was only one copy, was Fairy Cat. It's the one with the little tiny kitty, and it's just adorable cat shenanigans, but it's this little fairy cat that like comes and appears and is just a blessing, and it's adorableness. So cat adorableness forevers. Those are all the things that I do not physically have in my possession that I read this month. So let's go through my physical stack over here that is quite large. So with that said, let's go. All right, so first up, I did read Healer for the Shadow Hero Volume 3. I continue to really enjoy how this steamship series is developing. I really like the dynamic. I like that he is so gone for her. He will do anything he can to protect her. But at the same time, she respects when he puts up a boundary where he's like, I need you to be careful of this. Are you okay if I give you a bodyguard? You know, I want to give you all the bodyguards, but tell me where you're comfortable. Like they set clear boundaries that they're both okay with, and it's wonderful. I really like where it's developing, and I'm really excited to see where Volume 4 goes. I definitely need it. The cliffhanger was kind of poopy in this one, so I'm very much ready. The next one that I read was My New Boss is Goofy Volume 1. This is adorable. I just giggled so hard through this entire thing. So this is just kind of a goofy, klutzy boss. And he had a really crappy, toxic boss before. So when he comes here and he has this sweet being of a clumsy man as his boss, it's just really cute and shenaniganery ensues. And it's amazing. I do know there's an anime. I'm tempted to try it. I just haven't yet. But yes, I would highly recommend checking out this series if you haven't. And then I did check out Don't Hold Back Lord Hades. This is another steamship. This is basically banging is the plot, at least in this first volume. I believe this is 4 and complete in Japan, if I remember right. But anyways, I really enjoyed this. The art is stunning. Basically, everyone in the Greek pantheon is extremely lusty, and there is shenaniganery and everything within it. So if you want to play with Hades and Persephone myths, I am enjoying the direction of this one slightly more than I did Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage, but I'm really interested to see where it's going to go from here. We'll see if that continues. Next up, I did read Assassin and Cinderella Volume 2. I continue to really love this series. They are just both idiots and in love with each other, and it's adorable, and I love it. If you liked the first volume, you're going to like the second volume. So that's all I'm going to say. Next, I did finish a series that I've been meaning to finish for a long time, and that is Love and Heart. I have a myriad of mixed feelings about this series due to the toxic nature of the relationship for the majority of the series. I do think they go through a journey of figuring out why the relationship is toxic and working on fixing that. The sad part for me is that once they figure out what they need to do to fix it, they just do a 3-year time skip and everything's magic by the end. So I would have appreciated seeing that journey a little bit more, where we condense a lot of the really toxic behavior into maybe the first 5 or 6 volumes, and then have a couple volumes over those years of healing and figuring things out, and then having your final volume. But I digress. I feel like a lot of the things within the series needed to happen for the true wake up to happen. But yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence on whether I'm going to keep this on my shelf or not. I'm going to sit on it a little bit longer because I'm not ready to make a final decision yet. Next, I read an entire BL series that I've talked about and did a reel on, and that is Comic Party Wonderlove. This is a really cute story about 2 guys who are mangakas, and they're both just idiots in love. I really enjoyed this one. I don't want to say too much because it's just a 3-volume series, and I don't want to give anything away other than, he doesn't think very highly of himself. He doesn't think very highly of himself, but they admire each other, and things develop from there. And it was done really well. I really appreciated and enjoyed it. Complete in 3 volumes. Would highly recommend. Next, I did read the next volume, or the next omnibus in Colette Decides to Die. So I read volume 4, and I just love them. I love this. I love everything about it. It is just one of my all-time favorite series right now. If you are not reading Colette Decides to Die, I highly recommend that you do. It's one that I will die on the hill of it's amazing. Please read it. So yes, please do. We're deep enough in, I can't tell you much of what's going on, but it's amazing, so please read it. Another series I finished was The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. I finally got my hands on volume 12 and read it, and I really liked and appreciated where this series ended. And I had the best time with it. It's staying in my collection. It's so sweet and so cute. And I just adore them as a little couple. They're the sweetest. Another series that I finished was Vampire Dormitory. So I read volume 13 and 14. 14 is the final volume. I do like where the series ultimately ends. It cut off. I'm not sure where. But I really enjoyed this. I liked where it ended. The story in its entirety does make sense. I do think the last couple of volumes, there was some unnecessary things in there. It easily could have wrapped up differently or without one of the tiny arcs in the story, and it would have been fine. But again, I appreciated for what it was. I do think it was a little bit rushed at the end because I'm guessing they realized extending it wasn't the right idea. And so they had to wrap it up quickly is how I'm assuming that went down. But either way, had a great time, would recommend. Next, I read the first volume of From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. I'd been hearing nothing but fun things about this series, so I decided to finally give it a read. I had a great time. This was better than I was expecting, so I will be picking up more in this one. Essentially, we just have this older guy who's helped train a bunch of powerful women within the realm, and now they've basically recruited him to come and teach everybody else, and it's amazing. I really had a great time with it. Would recommend. I cackled and took photos to send to people during this entire first volume of the dashing Zaddy and his icy protege. Because basically it's an older guy who hasn't been able to get an erection for over a year. As he's interacting with his younger coworker, he ends up getting an erection and things go from there. I have volume 2. I'm very excited to read it soon, but I laughed and cackled through this entire thing. It is so campy and so over the top. I just laughed. I did go ahead and continue on in Cherry Magic and read volume 14. I continue to really love it. People are trying to step in on my precious beans and their relationship, and I'm not going to let it happen, and neither is Kurosawa. Kurosawa's not going to let anybody steal Adachi away from him, so they're just adorable. I love it. will continue to recommend and love Cherry Magic. Next, I read You Will Become My Wife in its entirety. This isn't necessarily what I thought it was going to be, but it ended up working out really well for me. Basically, we have this heiress and this guy who has worked very hard his entire life. She's chasing him because she wants to marry him. And, you know, he finally convinces him to date her. And so he's very like, okay, this is what's happening in the relationship, but she still feels lost and floundering because he doesn't communicate and he doesn't talk very well about his feelings, that kind of stuff. And so I end up really enjoying this. It's just a one-shot steamship series. So yes, it's very smutty, but I had a great time. Still a good one. And I would recommend it if you're looking for a quick, short, smutty time. Next, I read Star-Crossed Volume 1. This is a BL between a king and his bodyguard, and I just really like it. I don't want to say too much more than that. It is very politically driven, and I really appreciated that it was very politically driven. I will be picking up more of this one as well. Next, I did read the last 2 volumes of Tokyo Babylon. I really appreciated my time reading Tokyo Babylon. We're guessing that they're going to be, hopefully, publishing more of the clamp titles in these editions to get us some of those out-of-print clamp titles back in print. That would be lovely. Kodansha, I need Omnibus 4 of Holic. So, yes. Anyways, love Tokyo Babylon. If you love yokai and clamp, yes, read Tokyo Babylon. Okay, friends, we have 6 more. I know it's been a long time and it's been a long video. I'm trying to be as quick and concise as I can. So, I have Past the Monster to Meet My Lady Volume 8. I continue to really love and adore this series. I know a lot of people dropped it, but I'm having a great time with it, and I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. Next, I did read On and Off Work-Life Imbalance Volume 1. I really liked this. So, he dresses as a lolly in his off time, and she dresses as a punk rocker in her off time. They work at the same office and they interact with each other outside of work in these personas, but they're starting to figure out who each other is. And so I'm really excited to see where Volume 2 is going to go. Next, I have Sweet Heat Before Falling in Love Volume 1, The CEO and His Fated Omega. Essentially, it basically explains it in the title. Banging is essentially the plot. It is Omegaverse, and this girl works in the same company as the CEO, but they had never really interacted until she went to this, like, brothel because she was going into heat, or, you know, wanted to see what it was all about, maybe meet somebody. My battery's gonna die now. Be right back. And we're back. So yeah, they hadn't really interacted until she shows up at this brothel. She ends up going into heat. He ends up being the one with her, and he finds out they're fated mates, but he doesn't push anything too far that first time. He does go further than he expected to, but that's because it was his mate and he wanted to take care of her, and it was sweet. And I'm very excited to see where Volume 2 is going to go with this one. Next, I have Shangri-La Frontier Volume 17. I continue to really love and enjoy this series. I am excited to see where Volume 18 is going to take things, because I think we're going back to the story that interests me a little bit more. We kind of had a side quest here, and so, yeah, I'm really excited to see where it's going to go from here. Next, I have The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl Volume 10. Y'all know I'm obsessed with these two. They have reached the really cute and squealy stage of their relationship, and so I'm very excited to see where it's going to continue. I'm guessing we don't have too many more volumes of this one, honestly. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. And then last but absolutely not least out of everything I read this month was Volume 1 of Suzuki-Kun's Mindful Life. I am obsessed with this sweet teen and his little crush on this guy at school. It's so sweet and so adorable, and I'm just really excited to see this little baby gay figure himself out. It's so cute. But yes, he's this big, kind of intimidating looking guy, but he is the sweetest, softest boy ever. I love everything about this, but I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to spoil anything. So with that said, please trust me and pick up Suzuki-Kun's Mindful Life. I have zero regrets on picking this one up, and I am so excited for Volume 2 whenever we get it. So, with that said, that is my very long and very lengthy August wrap-up. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you are here just because you love me, leave me the bouquet of flowers emoji for Suzuki-Kun, and let me know what your favorite read from the month of August was. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.